Hello, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to make a little flip out journal. I posted this on my socials some time back and I asked if people would be interested in seeing how I made it, and the answer was a resounding yes. So here we go. So first off, I'm grabbing a piece of paper. It's like a portfolio or something. It's got really old paper with these beautiful markings and stains on it. And I thought it would be perfect. So I'm folding it and I'm trying to figure out how to fold it three ways. So I made a fold in the center, and then the two halves I'm folding kind of in half. I think it's 2/3 over, not really in half. And then those will be where my signatures go into. So it was just an experiment. I wasn't sure exactly how this would turn out. And as you can see, I had no plan as to how I'm going to fold it or the size or anything like that. I literally just grabbed a piece of paper and started folding and gluing things together, just kind of making it up as I go along. So to glue the two halves together, I've got some double-sided tape on the edges, and then in the center I just went in with normal craft glue, just a white craft glue, and just folding it over, and then I'm just pressing everything down with my bone folder to make sure that those two sides adhere correctly. So normally I don't measure. I guess the measurement that I just did just then was to try and figure out the size of paper that I would use in the signatures. So I'm grabbing out index cards. This spotty and gritty one is from a very old journal. I think it's like a 2019 diary of mine. I leave the little edges where I taught from the book. I have this little craft notebook, and really I'm just going in and looking through all of my bits and bobs that I've got, and I'm pulling out papers from everywhere. I am not being particular about the sizes. I'm definitely not cutting anything. I'm just tearing. I really like torn edges. So, not cutting, tearing. This is another little notebook, and it happened to have my birth date on the piece of paper that I chose. So I took it out, and here and there you'll see me folding the flaps in instead of tearing them. So they'll be little fold out pages. I have music paper, I have maps, and I've just had a whale of a time going through my stash and folding these papers and making these signatures. So if you've never made a journal before, a signature is basically a section of paper that's together. You'll see what I mean. So normally when you do bookbinding, you'll have a couple of different signatures, 3 or 4 signatures, and that's just the sheets of paper that go together. This journal is just going to have 2 signatures, so one on each side. So now you can see I'm putting my signatures together, and I'm just placing the sheets of paper the way that I want them. Again, I'm not particular about the order that they're going to be in. I guess the only thing that I have in my mind is not to put 2 pages that are too similar together. So I wouldn't do the craft paper and another page that looks the same as craft paper. I do want there to be a little bit of contrast in between. Okay, once I have that done and I'm happy with that, I thought I would make a little pocket. First I tried this little vellum envelope and then another envelope, and then they didn't work for me. So I'm going to use some fabric. This fabric is actually from a samples book for an upholstery company, and I really liked that it had those, I guess they call it pinking shears is what they cut it with, so it's got those zigzags at the top, and I decided that that would be one little pocket. I'm just cutting it to size, and I'm making sure I'm keeping that zigzag trim at the top there, and I'm just I think I sew this in, and then on the other side I do another pocket. This one is going to be vertical, so a nice long pocket, just a little space to tuck things into as I build on this journal. So I did this, and I did a little bit of decorating, so that's 2 different videos. Okay, before we get back to that, I just went over to my sewing machine and I stitched these signatures in. So just one straight line down the middle, and then I also stitched in the pockets. So nothing complicated. I used a couple of different stitches and I made them look nice and messy. I really like that. Okay, so getting back to what I was trying to say is I've done the making of this journal on video and a little bit of decorating, and I want to know, would you like to see a series of me filling up this journal, or are you happy to just see how it came together? Let me know what you prefer, and if you want me to do a series of how I fill up this journal, I will gladly do that for you. Okay, so to add a little bit of color to my book, I've got my tiny little gel plate out, and I'm just going in with my favorite colors, which are the turquoise and the pink and some neon pinks. I do go in with a little bit of neon orange. You know, I love a good Lumo color. So I just try and build up a couple of layers. I'm not very good with gel plating. It's not something that I've practiced an awful lot. I've done some, but not hectic. I don't fancy myself a gel plate printer artist. But I thought that it would be a nice, easy way to get some texture and color onto my little book that looks a little bit more rough and ready, not as perfect as I normally try and make my journals. I actually really liked the back of this book far more than I liked the front, but because I had already stitched in the pockets, I couldn't change my mind. So it is what it is. The back will just be beautiful and pretty, and that's it. So you'll see this little piece of fabric that I've got is, I tried doing an image transfer, so it's got some gel medium over the top, and then I'm just rubbing my excess paints from my gel plate on there, and in the next video you'll see how I turn that little scrap of paper into all sorts of fun little things. I'm not using my usual Art by Marlene paints for this. The Art by Marlene paints dry really quickly, so they're not ideal for gel printing. So I'm just going in with my Amsterdam acrylics and a couple of no-name brands that I've got here for the neons. And again, just building some layers with some stencils that I have laying around. Again, these are not branded. And this whole series of this little book will probably not be a branded series. It's really just going to be a use what you have kind of videos, just to show you that you can still make some really fun things with what you have. So let me know in the comments if you are interested in that, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so once I'm done with my little gel plate, you'll also see I've got some excess paint, and I just pressed that off into the journal itself, onto one of the pages there, and that's just to add a little bit of color. And that is what the journal looked like. I wanted to do something just to put something into the little pocket. That's not going to stay there. The pocket will probably evolve as the journal evolves. And I think that was it. Oh, it was not. I have this little book. You can see there's another little journal in there that I haven't finished yet. And I'm just taking a strip of, I think it's a serviette or some tissue paper, and I really like the print on it. So I'm just going to glue a couple of strips using my gel medium onto the cover, just adding a little extra. So this is not what the cover will look like in the end. Again, the cover will evolve with the journal, the same as the pockets. All right, that is about it. Thank you so much for being here and watching, and I will be back again soon with another video. Okay.